Their glasses. Well, a new way, a new day to say, I love you, and you must walk alone if you're going where I'm going. If you become you, you become you alone. There's no one that can do it for you, and there's no one that will do it with you, because where you're going is to be the real me if you're you. And you want to be the real you. You walk a path that no one ever imagined. You walk a path of power and delight, a path of pain. You walk the primrose path no more, or looking for a panacea. You open Pandora's box not, or do you? Change everything in your life you're willing to be, do, go to now. A new way. A new saying, not, or will you walk through the door of light? After you've created it. Within you, you see, because you are the kingdom of that which is in you is infinite and immortal. And, O great King, I ask you to open your land now. The land of immortality, the land of eternity, the land that you know not again. For you open it out to you, not the past with, but the future now. Me records it as such does for others now. For you see, the door is made for you. The door is made open for you, and you open the door for you, the door of light. And if you become me, if you become you, you do it with no one else tagging along or holding your shirt sleeves. It's an envious path, not, but it's a path of aloneness for a while. For you are forsaking all others, not, but no others are holding on to you to do what you want or cause you to do what they want. It's a path of sorrow to come out of sorrow. You leave a lot of friends behind, a lot of spouses, a lot of envy, a lot of hope, dreams, and desire. You see, it's not all glory to glory. It's not accepting Jesus. It's not accepting what someone else does for you. It's accepting you to be you. And you responsible for you. And you are the responsible party for you, whether you're having a party or not, with fun or not. Or maybe great sorrow because there's deliberation. And there's delivery. Delivery. Delivery of what? Delivery of the birth. The birth that you go through to birth a new you. To empty your shell, receive your seed, and conceive the mighty king, the simple, humble peasant, the one from Galilee, Nazareth, your hometown, that looked like you, to be the king, Messiah. Friend, the story is about you, and we all walk it alone. There's no pointing the finger to your Bible, to your holy book, to your spouse, to your preacher, pastor, religion, or icons. In the end, you walk it alone. And you know you, or you don't. You come out of this unscathed, not. But a lot of scales have to fall from your eyes to see the light, to be the light, to walk into the light, and to let the light be you. You see, this is not about doing it for some other. It's not about doing it for you. It's about becoming you. This is the great becoming. This is the great delivery. This is the marching out of slavery now that we are presented with, because we are no more. We are no longer trying to satisfy the flesh of him who dwells in you. I don't want anything else dwelling in me, good, bad, or indifferent. I want to be me. I want to be who I am, what I am, where I am, doing what I want to do. And what do I want to do? I want to be light, love, joy, peace, and healing people throughout the earth and farther. What do you want to do? I want to stop the wars. I want to end famine, end patriarchy, and all of its brutality. I want empty hospitals. I want to disrupt corruption, greed. I want to walk in my power. Folks, I just want to be me. But I see the pattern. When I look at what Jesus did, Jesus was a disruptor. He was a rebel. He was a radical. He was a revolutionary. But he walked in humility, and he didn't walk with a sword. He walked with the voice. He walked with light. He became who he was. He learned who he was through the voice, the inner voice. That which he was, he became. He birthed it, and he let not his flesh rob him of who he was, or his majesty, his power, his ability to walk through the crowds that wanted to throw him off a cliff, walk with his ability to turn water into wine. Was he drawing people to himself for accolades and worship? No, my friend. Jesus never wanted worship. Jesus never wanted worship. The King of Light does not want worship. The King of Light does not desire your praise. The King of love, light, joy, and peace desires for you to be it. And to be it, you birth it. You receive to conceive, and you nurture and mature to develop your light body to walk through the hell of your mind and each other's mind, and let the flames of hell no longer deter you. You're coming into light, but if you come into light, you pay a price, a big price. What do I mean by you pay a big price? You pay the ultimate price. You give up you. You give up what you are. You give up your status, your privilege, your prestige. You give up your privilege to work for a living all your life. You give up your privilege to die. You give up your privilege to be in pain. You give up your privilege to be in lack. You give up your privilege to remain complacent in ignorance. And you become the diligent who seek the light to conceive the light, to birth the light within you. That's the new birth. This is the new birth I'm talking about. To birth kings, not in lack, not in pain, no more disease, no more payroll needed, no longer having a month longer than your check lasts. This is the new beginning. And it's been coming for some time. And a lot of you know this. A lot of people have written, whether they call it the age of Aquarius, whether they call it heaven being restored to earth, whether they call that the evolution of mankind, no matter what they call it. Change is here. Change is coming, and change is here. And change is bred in you because you breathe it into you by the living word, not the word in a book. You begin to learn from within you. You begin to learn that you are the door of light. You hold the key because you are the key. You have the power of life and death in your tongue. You form the light if you will begin to conceive it. But you see, as long as you look in the mirror and say, who am I? I'm a grasshopper. I'm a snake. My righteousness is filthy. As long as you curse yourself with the definitions of mankind in this 3D world, and you limit you to the visceral, the visible, you are cursing you, pronouncing judgment on you and each other. But I see you as light. And everyone walks through their own door of light alone. So metaphorically, whether you think it's accurate depiction or not, whether you think you live forever or not, whether you think you're eternal, immortal or not, In the common vernacular of many people, most people seem like expect to die. And after that, the judgment. Friends, when you meet God after you die, you will see God face to face. No matter what your religion was or no matter what you thought, if you die, you are going to come face to face, I suggest, with the living God that had your face, and you will see the face of God, and that your face was the face of God, and the face of God was your face, and you will be standing before you. You that you thought with your mind of, your mind will be in fact standing before the light body, you, your light body, your energy, the eternal, immortal, the Holy Spirit. It's not like we've been taught. We've raised a bunch of wimps. We've been ignorant. We portrayed ignorance. We've exalted ignorance. We exalt the worship of gods. God, God, God this, God that. Oh, choose one, whatever your name for God. People accept that everybody is a God worshiper. They worship some kind of God, no matter what they call it, no matter what their practices are, no matter how many rules there are. 10, 638. What book do you follow? Why are you living according to those words? You are light, and you have the power of light. You have the power of life and death in the tongue. You are immortal. You are eternal. And you will never die, but your flesh will. Unless you become born again. And you birth the seed. You, Mary, Ralph, unless you grow your womb, the womb to receive the living word that's already within you, but that you think is separate from you. You think it is separate from you. You think you are gendered by DNA alone, but you're not, my friend. You're gendered by love, and love is feminine. Love has a womb. Love receives the seed of marriage, not to flesh, but the spirit. The word of the intangible me, the intangible you, that makes no effort to worship another or worship it or worship anything. When you begin to see who you are, when you begin to see who you really are, it's very humbling. You don't master you. You don't become a master of transcendence. You don't tap into this power. It's untappable. You fools who want to tap into the power of God to do business. It doesn't work that way. You don't tap into the power of love to control people. My friend, it's very different. If you don't walk in humility, you will never see the day of light. The day of light of the new beginning. Because you die out. And then your energy, your light body, Your body, the body of your energy, the energy of your consciousness, gets simply reused again. You go from place to place, planet to planet, solar system, or what do you know about things? Or why aren't you asking? Why are you talking so much about things you don't know? Because you're so happy with what you learned from another man. Why aren't you learning from inside of you? Why aren't you taking time? No longer sitting in a lotus position or praying on bowed knees or prostrating yourself before an icon. It takes guts to open up the door of light, the door of love that is within you, and walk through it. It takes guts. Believe me, I'd like to say it's easy. I'd like to say it'll be a great ride. It'll be a great adventure. And it will be a great adventure. But God knows I had no idea. I don't know that anyone can do this without pain. Pain and suffering, because you are learning to walk out of hell if you begin to walk in the light. If you want to do the things Jesus did and more, you become a person of light. And this world no more rules you with its 3D masters and mistresses and dominators and dominatrix. It's all different. Remember the verse, let the dead bury the dead? How can the dead bury the dead? Because in flesh, we are flesh people, humanity, a race of thinking. We're a thought race. Words fashion our lives. The energy of our motive, the motive of our energy. And we cast our crowns before the words of other people, letting other people fashion us, thinking we're ignorant or not, maybe thinking we're superior or whatever. But I tell you, folks, until you're willing to see every person as God, how can every person be God? What if there is a consciousness that exists throughout the atmosphere, throughout the universe? What if this universe is in fact a limited part of something greater? What if this world is a part of something greater? What if your brain is actually attached at the root level of something not molecular, not limited to the molecular world? What if in fact the root of your brain, or what you call your brain or your CPU, is in fact linked to something transcendent of time, space, and gravity and the molecular that we know it as? What if we're actually linked to a thread, a consciousness, a fiber optic cable? What if we are connected to the source, our source? What if we are all actually a race of kings? Women, men who don't know who we are. And we've been taught. And we've been taught wrong. We've been taught, oh, God created us, but we've been taught wrong. Oh, God, sacred, holy, divine. Don't be blasphemous. Be honoring God, honor God, worship God, do all these things, but do you love your brother? Do you love you? You start with you. See, this is the hardest part. You start with you. Instead of having compassion for your brother to go help him and her in the gutter, you begin to do the work inside. You walk alone. You're responsible for you. You're responsible to clean you up, to clean out your temple. The cleansing of the temple. How do you cleanse your temple? The temple, the mind of God. The mind of God is not separate from your mind. You just think it is. But you have the power to think it is separate. And because you have the power to think it is separate, you have the power of creation. You actually have the power to recreate you again. But it's not codependent with anybody else. You can't do this in conjunction with someone else, even though we are inextricably linked with each other throughout time, space, and gravity. To come out of this flesh, we walk alone. We birth. We birth. Only you can birth you. Mary, the story is about you. Jesus, Jesus. Ralph, Betty Sue. All these stories are about us. And we're finally seeing the story, not of a magical ending, not of the magi worshiping, not of all the stories to bring your tithe to some damn storehouse, some four-wall temple that says it's the house of God when God resides not in a house made with hands. God doesn't reside in a house made with hands. The temple of God, not made with hands, is between your ears. And there's no restoration of the third temple, my friends. It's the restoration of the original. Without the division. This is what we're coming into. Light, and it's costly. It's the most costly thing you have because it's what you are. It's not about what you have. It's not about what you believe or think you believe. It's what you surrender to become. And realize you were it all the time. It's humbling. And when you begin to realize your power, there's no faith needed whatsoever. And you realize there was no faith needed to please God. In fact, it's the opposite. Instead of trying to believe and try to have faith and try to appease the gods, whether it's your Christian God or not, no matter what God you've adopted, all the gods, all the God constructs, all of the imaginations, you begin to pull down one by one. And you realize the Bible is not the Word of God like it's been taught. It has many stories that are very powerful and may be very true and very accurate. You are the light of the world. You can do all the things Jesus did and more. You think God loved Enoch more than you? How did Enoch die? Why don't you die like Enoch died? Or did Enoch die? What about Elijah? What about the mantle? All of these things are portraying. They're trying to portray so many stories, in one sense, are in neon lights, what they're saying. The belly of the whale, 3 days in the tomb. Why don't you resurrect, my friend? It's costly to resurrect. It's costly to serve God no longer because it costs you everything you are. You learn to respect people like you've never respected people. You learn that you have authority. Authority. Authority to walk on water, to heal people, to feed the 5,000 with 2 loaves and a piece of bread? Are you willing to defeat your love no more for you? Will you love each other? Will you love the black people? Will you love the white people? The brown people, the red people, the blue people, the green people? Will you not be afraid of aliens? Will you not be afraid of the lion in the street or the lion in the lion's den? Will you no longer be afraid of that religious robe and the people who have had authority over you? Are you willing to come out from being under their authority? It takes leadership to do this, and guts. It takes leadership and guts. If you're going to be a person of light, it is inextricable that you develop your leadership. You can't walk around wimpy and saying, oh, my husband has authority over me, or my wife does, or my religion, or anything else. You walk alone. And you walk in love. You're no longer trying to castrate you or anybody else. There's no eunuchs. People of light project light, project love. There's no more God worship. There's no more God worship because when you really see who you are what you thought it was, what you think it is. Sacred, pure, holy. King, majesty. My friend, lift up the veil. It's time to lift the veil. The marriage supper of the Lamb, that's when who you thought was you and the real Holy Spirit of you become the one in majesty. No matter what your clothes look like, no matter what you smell like, no matter what your past is, the future is light. If you will conceive it, if you conceive these words that I'm speaking, you conceive the energy within you. You conceive this consciousness. Mary, do you hear me? I'm the angel telling you. Or are you the angel? Will you no longer defeat your love? That's my message. I love you. My name is Theodore Cottingham, a simple man in Eureka Springs that said it is really costly to know God. It's really costly. It's much more costly. It's really much more costly to know you. than it is to know God. God is a construct. God is imaginary. God is real. But our definitions and our languages and our practices and our want of control and all these things have mesmerized us. But it's the day of power because it's the day of humility. It's the day of leadership. And women won't be put under men anymore. I tell you, all that's over. The gender of God is feminine, needing no seed or nothing from a race of humanity ever again. Think on these things, but don't think long. Decide what you want and begin walking through that door of light. Conceiving the seed, receiving the seed of love, learning to let you be taught by the power of the voice that is within you, if it's the voice of love, not the voice of condemnation. You determine what voice you will listen to. And even within inside you, there are many voices sourced with many motives, and you choose. And it's not easy. Because you're navigating through the waters of hell, the flames of hell, to come out of the mind of man. This is Theodore Cottingham. With the word of me. Hoping you see the light, love the light, walk in the light. Love each other and love you first. Heal your children. Heal your families. Heal your communities. Love each other. Keep your word. Be punctual. Value the time. Value your time alone, and pick up your pen and listen to the voice within of love, and learn to distinguish even the voice within from light, from that which calls you to worship it. And that which calls you to worship it is not the light that I speak of. It's not the light that I've come to know. That's not the light that will birth you. The light that says worship it will take you to death and laugh on your grave while people are saying their prayers. People are standing around crying because you died, saying some eulogy. I define the Christ very differently, and Christ will no more be controlled by Christianity, for the Christian message has controlled the laity, controlled humanity, a large swath of it. But I tell you, the majesty of the King is present because love is not fueled by law. And all the differences will be known. And the creation story will no longer be controlled. We will no longer be fed by a bunch of lies. And we will no more live as paupers. This is my declaration to you. You must walk alone. And it's costly. But the majesty of the one is conceived in failure no more. The majesty of the King arises, and it's girls and boys of every nation, tribe, and tongue, because the time is now. The word is birthed. on this planet in a new way. And you will see the words of law falling right and left before the words of love. And people will arise that you despised, and the people who have been just used and abused and disdained, used for their money, their bodies, and their labor force, will rise up and lead and be the leaders in the new beginnings of me, a generation of love, light, and peace. The holy you. And to become the real you, you birth it. And that's why I've made over 1,000 videos on YouTube and make this one. To be the real me. And you be the real you. So our connections are no longer between disparate strangers with motives of separation. Heal the joy within you and walk in the light. I go now. My name is Theodore Cottingham at theodorcottingham.com, and I love you all. Be the real you. Walk through that door of light, whatever it costs you. Love the grave no more. Come out of all the thinking of people and wear the royalty of heaven and crown you with the living of the loving light that never ends. Thank you for sharing this time. I value my friends. I call you friend if you value my words. Don't look for another. Look in your mirror. Good day.